One more clap in front of your face.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to Over a Bottle. My name's Paul Erdman, and I'm friends with this guy.
Hey, I'm Jordan Reagan, and I'm friends with that guy.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Today we're going to be drinking in honor of the NDSU Bison's victory. We talked about it last week, but I want to just touch on it again because 5 championships in a row.
5 championships.
It's insane.
Amazing.
We're drinking Thousand Stories bourbon barrel aged Zinfandel from 2013. And it's got a picture of a buffalo on here. So
Pretty close to a bison.
pretty close.
Yeah. Here is what we learn about this wine from CellarTracker.com. Thanks, CellarTracker. It is light-bodied and purplish in the glass. It has a medium finish. It's very fruity with red berries, mild spice, strawberries, and a delightful jamminess.
Yeah, this was recommended to me by the manager at Cashwise Liquors. All
Cheers.
right, to episode 2.
Episode 2.
I still love you. Again, I gotta say tame. Really tame.
Right away, though, it tastes really sweet. Like, right away.
Really sweet.
I really enjoyed that, because
Yeah, it's
I
not bad
love
at all.
sweet things.
I like sweet things.
Yeah.
We were drinking that $10 Malbec.
Yeah.
Um,
Because you just bought a house. And
Yay! Yeah,
and had a baby.
I did. Yeah, we're celebrating. So we're a little late on this week's video because my wife went into labor Friday
Yes.
and we were in the hospital all weekend. So
I'm so excited for you,
yeah,
dude.
Brand new baby. Thank you. She's a girl and she's sweet. She came out with a full head of hair.
It's January 20th or something like that. What are we talking about today?
Today we're gonna, I like to call it like the Jordan and Paul review the last 10 years of their lives.
So you graduated high school. You went up to Briarcrest.
Yes, I went up to Briarcrest Bible College up in Saskatchewan.
Okay.
So I left high school knowing 100% what I wanted to be when I grew up.
What's that?
Youth pastor.
I knew that.
So I went up there to college more sure than I've ever been in my entire life of what I was doing.
Really confident.
Yeah.
Okay.
I dropped out of second semester Algebra 2 and told my teacher in high school, senior year, they don't require Algebra 2 at the college I'm going to.
Okay.
And he says to me, well, what if you don't stay at that college? And I says, I'm going to stay.
I mean, you were an 18-year-old. You knew
Yeah.
everything.
I did. Absolutely everything. And I
Yeah.
was going to be, I'm a youth pastor.
You were not a youth pastor.
I'm not a youth pastor,
You didn't-
no. I got up there, and after the first semester, I looked out at my peers, the future youth pastors of America and Canada,
Yeah.
and I said, yeah, we're not cut from the same cloth, me and these people. They bought in fully
Yeah.
to the big Americanized church,
Yeah.
and they weren't there to change it. And I
Okay.
thought that's why I was going to college. I was going to learn things and how I'm going to change and become the future.
Wait, that's really
of the
interesting.
church.
So the big institution of the church, you're saying that they were takers of it.
Oh,
they,
yes.
They were just saying, give me my ticket, give me whatever.
I want to be paid $55,000 a year to be a youth pastor in a giant church that serves 10,000 people.
Wait,
that's
50
the dream.
55,000?
As a youth pastor, like that's their dream.
You're saying mega church.
Mega church.
Okay.
Everyone's dream was mega church.
Oh,
And
okay.
I was not at all interested in that. I had come out of it thinking I would like to be involved in something that I felt was a little more real and intimate.
Okay.
And not so much pomp and circumstance.
Sure.
Look at how big our stage is.
Look at how big that is.
Look at how professional our band is.
We got lights. We got 8 singers.
Yeah, I don't want that, man. Or I guess I didn't want that.
Yeah.
So I was going there to find people that I thought would be like-minded and wanted to change and be the change that I thought the church needed after reading one book.
Yep.
Because that's what you do. You
remember
read
the book?
one book. No. But no, I was just very stubborn and alternative, and I was like, let's be the change. And I was like, oh man, these people suck.
So I think I know what you mean when you say alternative, but what do you mean? Justin Bieber, what do you mean when you say?
I would say terrible hair. Black on top, blonde underbangs.
Yes.
Gauged ears.
Yes.
Band T-shirts exclusively.
Yes.
Chuck Taylor's All the Live Long
Chucks.
Day.
Yep.
And I listened to music that, by today's standards, would be categorized as terrible.
Then were you there a year, 2 years?
1 year.
Okay.
2 semesters.
So I'm on my way out. You're on your way back in?
Yeah.
to F-Town.
Coming back to Fargo. That summer, I met the first person I gave an engagement ring to, and that was my first year. Tell me about your first year outside of high school.
Okay.
Because you went to school in Pennsylvania.
I did, yeah.
Wharton School of Business, UPenn. Correct?
Yeah, and I ended up meeting one of my best friends today, a guy named Josh, and
Josh Carroll.
Vite, other one.
Okay.
Yeah, you've met both of them, but Josh Carroll came in like a week after. But basically, moved into freshman dorm, and I requested him as my roommate because he had a picture of a green Power Ranger as his.
Nice.
And I had like everyone else had real pictures, and his was just ridiculous.
That's Tommy.
Yeah, Tommy, exactly.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, a Power Ranger was like committed murder, I think, in the last week or two. Did you see this?
No.
Got convicted for killing somebody.
Oh, dear.
So yeah, terrible.
Probably with his powers.
Yeah. But that first year was amazing. I loved the school I went to. So I did a lot of social stuff. I got to know a lot of people. I got pretty involved with the clubs. I was in an a cappella group. I was actually the beatboxer for an a cappella group. My beatboxing is actually pretty good. But really, really good first year. Tons of great late night conversations, hanging out with people. But I didn't drink. I did not have one sip of alcohol. That was against the rules.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't believe in drinking until you're 21, and I was determined to stick through. Sure.
I smoked. I smoked all the live long day.
Cigarettes.
Cigarettes, yep.
Yeah, cigarettes.
Yeah, and interesting, it's, no, maybe it's interesting, but all the packs of cigarettes in Canada have pictures of, like, cancerous lungs on them. So they're just like, here you go, yeah, you can have this if you want, but this is what will happen.
That's brutal.
It is brutal. I'd say leaving Bible college was, like, my first step away from traditional American Christianity.
Sure.
I would say that's beginning of me being questioning whether or not I wanted to be a part of it. I guess. But when I got back from college, I had stretched my ears up to 0.
Oh, wow. That's big.
It was, yeah, because I had started the summer before, like, stretching my ears.
Right.
I'd never pierced my ears, so from in one calendar year, I went from pierced to zeros.
Right.
0 gauge tunnels. And I got back, and my dad saw them, and he said, I want the keys to your car, and I want all your stuff out of your room. You're cut off. No boy of mine's going to have tunnels in his ears.
Get out!
Yeah.
Wait, what?
My dad works in the trades.
Yeah.
So it's a bunch of manly men. That's where I get all my flannels and beard inspiration from.
Right.
And
your manliness. You exude manliness.
I build furniture. Not
Yeah.
gonna lie. I do it.
You do.
Yeah. But he saw those tunnels and he kicked me out. He said, give me your keys. You're done. You're cut off.
Goodness.
Cell phone, all that stuff.
I didn't know this, Ert. So,
Yeah.
wait, so...
So then I called
Were
up-
you okay? I mean, did you cry?
No, I think I swore a bunch and
Anger.
Like I cursed my father's name.
But you were hurt, and that's
Yeah.
why you were angry, right?
Yeah, super angry and hurt. That
Yeah.
like I'm just trying to be me. So
Wow.
And so what happened was I called up my sister who was living in Minneapolis and asked her if I could crash with her. Got a job.
Plumbing.
And I was plumbing. And then my dad called me up and he said something happened between my father and me, and we didn't talk for 7 years.
Wow.
I'm not going to let that happen to you and I, so why don't you come home and let's talk? So after 6 months of not talking to each other, he called me and said he wanted to talk. So I went to...
Wow, dude.
Yeah, I went back to his place, and he
Prodigal
sat me
son right
down.
here.
I guess. Somewhat.
So how did it go?
So I sit down in his living room, and it's kind of quiet for a while, and he's like, I don't get you, but I guess if this is what you want to be, I'll support it. He said he wanted me back in his life, and that I didn't have to live in Minneapolis if I didn't want to. So then I moved back to Fargo, and I was still with my first fiance, the one I asked to marry me when I was 19. Huh?
But she didn't come with you to
So-
Minneapolis, right?
No.
Just distance.
Yep.
Okay.
Zanga. We kept our relationship alive over Zanga. But yeah, I asked her to marry me, and we really early on in our relationship, because I really wanted like sex to be a part of my life, and I had been abstaining from sex. I had opportunities and said no.
Right.
It's like I'm only gonna have sex with my wife, and so we got engaged. And over like a 1.5 year long period of being engaged, like I slowly started to realize that like I didn't like her, and I didn't want to spend the rest of my life with somebody just to like have sex with them. I mean that engagement ended when I was probably 20.
All right.
She did not want it,
Yeah.
and we were at. This is the story. So we were at my apartment in Fargo,
Yeah.
and I was to take her back to Bemidji. where she was going to school, and I decided I'm not going to break up with her in the car.
Right.
I'm not going to break up with her when I drop her off. We're going to talk about this in my apartment in Fargo. So we went through everything.
Before you go.
Mm-hmm. I said everything I had to say. Listen, I don't want to do this anymore. We're done. We're not compatible at all. Like,
Right.
She brought out the worst in me, and I feel like I did the same for her.
Sure.
And so, like, I would really like to be done. So then we had a long car ride, 2.5 hours after that to her
Goodness.
school. So I
Wait,
still
what was
gonna
your
take her to
logic
school.
here? What?
I didn't want to have a conversation in a car that was about changing my life. Because the path
Okay.
of my life was going towards marrying her. I'm not going to flippantly have that conversation in a car, nor am I going to have it in the parking lot after dropping her off.
Right, and I
My
guess
logic is,
yeah.
let's sit down in a place we're comfortable and talk this through, and then I'm going to drive you because I said I would. She got out of the car and at her school, and she said, you're going to call me tomorrow, and you're going to call the engagement back on. And I said, no, I'm not. And then she shut the door, and I drove off. And I turned on a country western station, and I cried for about an hour. And then I turned the pop music on, and I was like, okay.
No, I'm just saying.
Okay.
I mean, making a right decision at any point in time is
Mm-hmm.
incredibly hard.
Because even though I'd left the church and said that I didn't want to be a youth pastor anymore, I was still deeply involved with my home church in Fargo, leading worship at the youth group and leading sermons at the youth group.
Wow.
Maybe once a month. I did one sermon called "Just because you're called to be a fisher of men doesn't mean you should talk like a sailor."
That is such a, like, that's way too long of a title. It's supposed to be tongue-in-cheek, and it's like, if the with, but not if and if, but for.
However, the reason why I decided not to be a youth pastor is because I like drinking, I like cussing, and I like women.
A lot of youth pastors like those things, but
Yeah,
okay.
but they shouldn't be youth pastors. They get into trouble.
Okay, you're right. You're right. Well, it's funny. My second year at school, stuff happened for me. So, high school relationship. She figured out that who she was, very similar background to you and I, but she was ready to completely reject that. She was just kind of like, this whole thing, this whole worldview, life, like, you're part of that, and I don't want to be a part of this whole thing anymore. So I think that, like, so that was brutal for me. I thought we were going to get married. I think I told her I loved her after we broke up. We broke up at the beginning of the summer before that year. Before we broke up, we requested to be in the same dorm.
Sorry.
You jerk, dude. She ended up being 6 doors down from me. 6 doors down from me.
Oh, wow.
And it was a freshman dorm, but I was a sophomore in it.
Imagine if she was 3 doors down. Kryptonite, yeah!
Is that even a song by them? Isn't that?
If I go crazy, then will you still call me Superman?
So it was brutal.
Mm-hmm.
So I was dead. I was so dead. I was like, I can't see you. I'm not okay.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, there was a cryptic note left in my room. I still never knew who wrote it, but it was like you're gonna have to move on or something like that. Anyway, I always took that to heart.
Boy.
So I was dead. I go on MySpace. You're talking about Zanga. I was on MySpace,
Nice.
listening to all the Under Oath, listening to all the Christian Screamo, and I found this band out of Texas, in Fair, Verona, and they said, we're going on tour. We're going on a national tour. We're looking for a pianist and a guitarist. Mind you, I could not play guitar for this band. I was not a good enough guitarist, but I could play synths and piano well enough. So I was so dead being in the same dorm as my ex that I was like, anything to get out of this. So I checked in with my school. They said, you can take as much as 8 semesters off and still come back. So I was like, okay, it's called deferring your enrollment. So I deferred. I flew down to Texas over Christmas instead of studying for finals, and I auditioned for this Christian Screamo band, flew back, took all my finals, flew home to Fargo and said, Mom and Dad, I'm dropping out of school, essentially, to join this band in Texas.
Yeah.
And they said, what the...
Yeah.
I was in this intense business undergrad program. I was training to become an investment banker. And I'm like, no, I instead want to wear skinny jeans and straighten my hair and like sing harmonies over like a beautiful, he had a really good voice actually, lead singer. And so moved down there, moved in with the lead singer. We immediately went on tour, and it was like a 3-month tour. We it was right at the beginning of January, so we toured through like Nebraska and Chicago, and we essentially made a G, like a capital G, from the middle of the G out. At New Mexico, 2007, there was a scene in Screamo bands where everyone in the crowd did one-handed cartwheels
Shut up.
like 14-year-old kids would
Yeah.
do one-handed cartwheels and then keep doing their metal stuff.
That is so bad.
It was so cool. We were all sitting there, like our minds were like,
Yeah.
we played in like an art studio, and then
Yeah.
right away when our scene started, or our set started, kids started doing one-handed cartwheels. And we're like, how do you even do that?
Right.
Incredible. So we closed out the tour, and I just found myself totally depressed, actually. I thought that I wanted to be in a band. I thought I wanted to be in a van driving around the country. But I did not have any synergy with the bandmates. We did not get along. I love you, Texas, but I'm sorry. Like me and 17-year-old and 18-year-old Texans, we did not get along.
Yeah. You kind of had like a Kerouac experience then.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't read On the Road yet, so
Okay.
don't spoil it for me.
Then
but
I won't.
Yeah.
But you were just like kind of fed up with
Fed
stuff,
up.
and you were like, I'm just gonna tour
Mm-hmm.
and see the sights, and then find out exactly where home is.
Yeah. Do you think 20-year-olds are capable of understanding whether or not they're in love with someone, whether or not they
No.
are fully compatible in general? Like
No. No.
okay,
No, I don't.
decide.
I think 20-year-olds are so young. And I think that's fine. That's not a negative.
Right.
If you're young, then do young people stuff. Stay out late, drink, have fun. Like, do that. Don't make serious life choices at 20. That's insane. You should be making the choices that we look back on fondly and say, I don't know how we survived.
As always, you can like or subscribe right below.
Yes, please do. And also, right now we're at 12 subscribers. If we hit 20 subscribers, we're going to have a giveaway. We're going to give away a $10 Amazon gift card. So, in order to qualify for the giveaway, all you have to do is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this video. So at 20 subscribers, there's a $10 gift card to Amazon.
Can I qualify?
Yes. And I can too.
Perfect.
So really you have a 1 in 20 shot. 20
Yep.
subs.
Yep.
Yeah, please like, share, subscribe. If you want to contact us at all, you can hit us up on Twitter at @overabottle.
Or if you want to email us, you can email us at overabottle@gmail.com.
Absolutely. And submit some questions and we'll be answering them next week. We had a question that I pulled today, but we'll save it for the next video.
Yeah. And
So-
shout out to Andrew. Thank you for running camera and sound. Love you, Andrew.
Yep. So
Bye.
thank you very much. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
I'm not telling you I love you
As
like,
a
just
roast.
to say
Yeah,
it
yeah.
because we say it.
Right.
I'm telling you that I mean it and I love you. It's not like a knock on her at all.
Why don't you say that to me like that, though?
I do every time we open the waddle. Open the waddle. Over a
Waddle.